It's good to be back. Hopefully, you guys had an amazing time off during your holidays as well. I know we've all been grinding super hard over the course of the last year, so hopefully, you guys got some time to relax, spend time with family, spend time with friends, catch up on doing some things that you love. But yeah, we're excited to be back, guys. We got back into the full swing of things on Monday, so it's nice to catch up again. This is pretty much what the purpose of this call is going to be. We're just going to have a little bit of a catch-up call. There's a couple questions in the AMA questions channel that we'll go over as well. And of course, guys, if you do still have any questions and you forgot to drop them in the AMA questions channel, I urge you to go and do that right now. And yeah, with that being said, let's get started with today's community call. As always, Yago, welcome to the speaker panel. So good to have you. How are you doing? How was the holidays for you?
Hello, hello, hello. I had a very good holiday. Actually, it was the first time I've taken a holiday in years. It was really nice. Spent time with family. Um, and we've also managed to, the team actually mostly was working through the holidays. We've managed to continue to make progress. We had a lot of things actually progress. The hackathon has drawn a large number of teams. We're going to be doing an upcoming series of reducing the number of semifinalists down to 20 teams, and from there to 6 teams. We're currently working on a way to get the community involved so that they can vote for their favorite projects. We also made significant advances on the BLS 12 curve, which would make us the first project to actually be able to do ZK transactions and ZK rollups with the BLS 12 curve. And this is particularly important in terms of being able to integrate with Cardano, which uses the BLS 12 curve, whereas most other chains can use BLS 12, but primarily focus on other curves. And the day before my short holiday started, we actually signed the definitive agreement with Litecoin and the LitVM project to bring the Litecoin rollup to life and have the BOS integration on Litecoin occur. So actually a lot of developments have happened there. We are moving forward very, very rapidly, and I think that will be the next sort of big project or feature on BOS to launch, since we are expecting that to happen this quarter and actually in the earlier part of this quarter. So we've made significant progress there.
Amazing. We love to hear it. We love starting these calls off with a nice update from you, Yago. Nice to hear that we've made significant progress, even though, a few of us were resting over the holidays. But I will personally say I'm so happy that you got some time off, time to rest with your families as well. And like you of all people, I've been telling you for a long time, like you just don't sit down. I've been telling the community for a long time, you do not sit down. So it's really nice to hear that you just got a peace of mind and went on a holiday for the first time in a long time. So yeah, awesome. So we actually have quite a few new listeners. And a lot of these new listeners are actually coming in from our ordinals campaign that we're running. So we have a loyalty program where, in order to secure a guaranteed whitelist spot for our upcoming ordinal collection, you have to basically complete a bunch of quests and kind of work your way to the top 1,200, right? So there's a lot of these users that are coming into our community call today. So I just want to say welcome to all of you. With that being said, Yago, could you actually give them a quick rundown, a quick TLDR of what BOS is and what we're doing?
Sure. So BitcoinOS BOS is the first project to have ever been able to develop the ability to verify ZK proofs on Bitcoin. opening up a huge array of new possibilities for what it is possible to do with Bitcoin, including the ability to issue programmable tokens. So that's things like stablecoins, RWAs, DAO tokens, DEX tokens, functional NFTs on Bitcoin. And we've already started to see the first of those being launched, and we've seen at times very, very significant percentage of Bitcoin transactions actually being Charms tokens, this new token standard, which initially was developed for Bitcoin, but has now actually expanded to other chains as well. A very, very interesting part of BitcoinOS, which was not part of the original goal, is Charms, and I'll come back to that in a moment. By introducing these ZK proofs to Bitcoin, we are building an operating system in which you can not only issue tokens and programmable tokens on Bitcoin, but also build any programmable system at scale and in familiar languages, the standard languages. So you don't need like a special language like Solidity. You can use Solidity, but you can also use C++ or TypeScript or Rust or any of the standard languages, potentially allowing any developer in the world to start building for Bitcoin, building things like DeFi or DAOs or privacy systems. And we're actually seeing examples of all of these things being built now directly on Bitcoin, as well as the ability to build the ability to move BTC onto other chains without bridging them, and do the same thing for assets that exist on other chains and move them onto Bitcoin. And I was speaking earlier about LitVM, also the ability to scale Bitcoin with roll-ups. And so we're going to start seeing the first of those launch this quarter. And then finally, we're actually, what perhaps the most ambitious and exciting thing about BitcoinOS is the integration of entire other chains like Litecoin, like Cardano, and over time Doge, Monero, and ultimately every single chain in the world to integrate directly into Bitcoin so that Bitcoin becomes the unified hub, unifying this very, very fragmented world that is crypto today, but that tomorrow, for the first time ever, will be built around Bitcoin as a truly unified network, which finally can live up to this idea, this meme of the Internet of Value or the Internet of Money. And so I mentioned Charms. One of the things that has emerged from BitcoinOS is a totally new way to think about tokens, generating tokens as ZK proofs themselves, so that these tokens called Charms can be issued on Bitcoin, can be issued programmatically to exist on chains like Litecoin, like Monero, where programmatic tokens are today not possible, but also allowing users to transact these assets between chains for the first time without going through third-party bridges, just by making the transaction themselves directly from their wallet. And perhaps the most powerful thing about them, and what really turns all of this into an operating system for a unified Internet of Value, is that these assets can interact with DeFi applications or smart contracts on multiple different chains at once, something totally impossible today using the old paradigm and the old way of building chains and tokens.
Beautiful intro and comprehensive intro as always, Yago. Thank you for that. With that being said, we covered what BOS is, we covered what Charms is, we went over a quick technical updates. Let's dive into some of the questions in the AMA questions channel. Like I said, guys, if you guys have any further questions, please drop them in there. I will do my best to get to them, but I just checked and there's almost like 30, 40 questions here. So you guys know how it goes. First come, first serve. But as always, I will skip the AI questions because they get very repetitive and they tend to be nonsense sometimes. So Mekon Tcon said, are there any updates on staking, running nodes, any sort of DeFi apps for retails, other applications. It would be good to see a timeline or roadmap for these specific items. There isn't much for retail end users at the moment, so I would like to understand when we can utilize our BOS tokens.
Yeah, so as we said previously on such calls, our expectation is not that staking will be launched this quarter, and that's because we've got so many other things that we need to launch this quarter. But there will be far more that will be introduced, which will allow sort of retail regular users to begin using the system. And perhaps the most important of that are the roll-ups that are going to be launched, which for the first time will allow users to experience the system, utilize the system directly, not just with tokens, but with DeFi, with DAOs, some of which will have staking, things like NFTs, and to be able to do that from the wallets with which people are familiar, because some of these rollups are going to be EVM rollups. So I think in terms of being able to actually start using the system as a standard user, not just as a developer, that will happen over the next weeks. So will happen over the course of this quarter, the early part of this year. And then we expect to be able to start tackling staking and launching operator nodes after that.
Thank you, Yago. Mikon Tikon, I hope that answers your question, my friend. Ahmed said, please schedule the mint. In due time, my friend, in due time. I understand the anticipation. It is coming soon. Promise you that. Just stay tuned. As always, the mint date is to be determined. Next question from To Be Cryptological, our favorite green man. A question for the upcoming January community call. Will BOS have any presence, apart from me, at NZ CryptoCon 2026, New Zealand's premier crypto event on June 6th or 7th, June 6th and 7th, 2026?
I don't believe we have anyone in the New Zealand area who would be able to attend. And since the travel time to New Zealand is longer than the actual conference, I don't know if we'll be able to go. I've actually never been to New Zealand, would love to go. This might be an interesting opportunity, but currently not planning on it. It's anyone, as I assume that you are from New Zealand, so the the isolation of New Zealand, such that on many maps it doesn't even appear, is both a benefit and a drawback.
Yeah, if you'd like to send me, Yago, I guess I could take one for the team, I might not end up coming back, though. I might just end up staying there, buying a house, starting a family, all the things.
You didn't mention sheep, so I think you're not qualified.
Damn it. Next time. All right. Next question, my friends. We have Elsa who said, hey, Familia. My question is pretty straightforward. I just want to know, what is BOS's main growth focus for 2026 users? And are there any plans to integrate BOS with more wallets, chains, or DeFi protocols this year?
So absolutely, yes. We expect to see the roll-ups roll out. We expect to see chain integrations that we've been working on and have already discussed, particularly with the UTXO chains early this year. And there's also increasing work around building privacy systems, which will enhance Bitcoin privacy for both retail and institutional players, planned for the second half of this year, just in terms of, we've got multiple teams working on different components of this. My expectation is we would start to see those things probably rolling out as POCs and product towards the second half of this year. So it's the ability to integrate UTXO chains with Bitcoin to create the the UTXO Bros mega chain, demonstrating sort of the initial power of BitcoinOS, the roll-ups, and more sophisticated use cases, both from a privacy and an institutional DeFi perspective in the second half of this year.
Thank you, Yago. Next question comes from Indulgent, our amazing moderator. Vibe coding is all the rave right now, and it looks like AI is really changing the building landscape for traditional apps. So how long till you see AI being used to create entirely new chains, build good Web3 security architecture, and even allow people to vibe code Web3 apps for personal usage?
I think AI is already being used quite extensively in crypto, and even in some of the things that we're seeing being developed for BOS. I think where we're seeing most of it right now is in searching for vulnerabilities within systems so that they can be plugged and corrected, and in building front ends. However, I would warn you guys, this is actually a real problem, I think, for end users, because what we are starting to see is front ends and dApps to a lesser extent being developed in this vibe codey way. And vibe coding is fun and fast, but it tends to be inherently less secure. The AIs are still not advanced enough to develop systems that are internally coherent. They have relatively short context windows. Anyone who's been following vibe coding or has done it themselves knows that what has become very, very popular recently is chunking work, especially using Opus 4.5, and so chunking work into a series of tasks, which then can be provided to the AI. So in this case, Claude Opus 4.5 or ChatGPT 5.2. And it's working much better than what it was working just a few months ago. And people are developing much more sophisticated and extensive pieces of software. The problem is that all of these things that are being developed because of this chunking are much larger than the context window that the AI is able to support. And so what happens with high frequency is that there are vulnerabilities being developed because of small, unnoticed contradictions between these different chunks. And so I think that this is actually a quite dangerous time for average crypto users to be using, especially new systems, but just any systems, because it's basically impossible to know what has been developed with vibe coding. It's very tempting for developers to build things with vibe coding, but I think to the extent that people are using vibe coding to develop these systems, they are much likelier to have unnoticed vulnerabilities which can be exploited. So I actually think that there's a pretty high chance that we're going to see more hacks, more vulnerabilities, more people losing money over the coming months because of this kind of thing. Vibe coding in crypto is special because in crypto you're building secure systems, or things which should be secure systems, for people's actual cash, their capital, their valuables, their property. Whereas vibe coding, just like an app on the internet, the vulnerabilities don't really matter that much. So I think it's actually a bit of a concerning trend to pay attention to over the next coming months.
It was interesting to listen to your perspective here, Yago, because I personally don't know much about vibe coding. But Indulgent, that was a great question, my friend. Next question came from Mike Lind, but I'm going to have to skip your question, my friend, because I had a little bit of trouble understanding what you were asking for. But I'm still going to give you XP towards Zealy. Sudi said, hi team, where are we in the current roadmap? What is your main target or multiple to achieve in 2026? And then I will say, ComputeFi, welcome to the speaker panel. We will get to your question next, my friend.
Elian, I think this is like a little bit of a repetition of a question which we've already answered a little bit. So maybe
That's okay. We can skip it.
let's try and find those questions which are on new or different topics.
All right. I'm going to skip a few guys, but the ones I'm skipping, I will give you guys XP. Let's see here. Okay, so I guess this one kind of talks about like one of our recent tweets that we had. So we've mentioned that the past year was about creating the foundations, and this year is about expansion. Can you throw more light onto what you mean by expansion?
Yes, so definitely. I don't know necessarily that I would use the word expansion. I think a better word might be expression or implementation. So we've been building now the infrastructure to allow a large number of things, very exciting things, to be built. But infrastructure is not an application, or is not applications. It's not features. It's not. It's machine to machine functionality, not human to machine or human to human functionality. And so the coming year is around building out those things which will be human facing. And so that's going to be the roll-ups. It's going to be new kinds of tokens. It's going to be new kinds of applications, bridging, and new chains being integrated so that you can actually move assets between these different chains and utilize all of the applications that already exist on them. So if last year was around building the fundamental tools to make the system possible, this year is going to be about bringing to the fore and making available the first functional features and applications that users can begin to benefit from.
Awesome. Thank you, Yago. Amber, I hope that answers your question, my beautiful friend. Next question was from Mike Lind. He said, what are the bridges to buy BOS tokens with MetaMask? I'm not sure what you mean by bridges, but there are several exchanges where you can purchase BOS, as well as both centralized and decentralized. So if you'd like to ask one of our moderators in the general chat, they will be more than happy to assist you. But I would like to move through this just because we are kind of we don't have too much time today. Aliyu Ashiru, you asked a question about main goals or roadmap. We kind of covered this already, so I'm skipping this question, my friend, but I will give you XP. Pat Den, you said when mint dates to be determined, my friend. Please stay tuned. Thank you for your patience. So this next question, actually, we were going to bring up ComputeFi real quick, but let me get to another question real quick. Freylex said, I was checking the BOS official website and found it to be a bit heavy. There's a lot of animations and hardware usage for a big financial product, which feels unnecessary. Would you guys consider a more sober and easy to navigate official site?
Sure, if someone wants to build it. I don't think we have the spare time to rebuild the entire site right now.
Maybe that's cue for another hackathon there or something like that. Yeah, if you guys would like to build out the website, you're more than welcome.
I think our site is very it's quite gorgeous and helps explain the concepts very well. But I would admit that I think it could have been easier to navigate and load more quickly. So those are frustrations that I share about the website and would like eventually to tackle.
Agreed. Yeah, I definitely think the usage of animation slows it down significantly. I also feel the same way. In due time, my friends, these things will be addressed. Promise you that. Next question here. All right. This next question is about why we're not allowed to mention the BOS token price on the Discord. Seems a little anti-freedom of speech. I have talked about this several times on several calls, but let me just go over this real quick. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go over it later because Yago's low on time, so I'm going to go over it towards like the end of the call. I don't want to waste his time over here, but I will go back into that. So Lucas said, "Hey, my friends, I saw the Engage exchange only has the PS5 right now, which is awesome. Any plans to restock it soon? Maybe a small spoiler on upcoming rewards. Really excited for what's coming this year." Good question, my friend. I know that obviously, like during TGE, post TGE, the PS5 was something that I wanted you guys to get like prior to the holidays, or like at least during the holidays, but unfortunately, you know, we didn't have with all the things that took place, the pre-sale claims, the airdrop claims, the TGE itself, the insane amount of support tickets, the customer support, everything that was needed. It was really difficult for me to also manage like you know, creating like a competition or sorts to try and get you guys that PS5 win. Um, I will be kickstarting that again next week. I definitely want you guys to grab that. That's obviously something that I promised you guys like during TGE, post TGE. But in terms of restocking with more rewards, absolutely, my friend. Once again, like I said, once you know, we were back from the holidays, we were going to kickstart all community activities again. So I was just you know, come Monday, last Monday, I kickstarted Zeely again. So just need a little bit of patience. But in terms of a little spoiler on upcoming rewards, I can't give you that, my friend. I'm sorry. Until something is like certain, until I've like planned things out, I can't share anything. I don't want to disappoint you guys. Steve said, "Happy New Year to you both." Happy New Year, my friend. What did Aliens and Yago each get up to for Christmas and New Year's celebrations? And what's your thoughts on their overall market expectations for 2026? What did you get up to, Yago?
I spent quality time with family. Something that has been, you know, I think we all, if given the opportunity, should do that. Some time with friends, mostly just time to give my full attention to kids and nephews and just, you know, my family in general. And in terms of outlook, I think a lot of interesting things have happened over the last few days. If people have been sort of listening to me talking sort of more macro outside of you know, just BOS, my view was that we are in a very, very interesting moment because potentially we're going to get confirmation that the 4-year cycle is dead. And also one of the key things is that a key driver over the last year, especially for Bitcoin, but generally because Bitcoin is the engine for everything, for the entire industry, has been MicroStrategy, and in particular, and that's more generally, and then MSCI were planning to announce whether or not they would delist MSTR MicroStrategy from their index, which would have been a very, very significant thing if they had chosen to do it. So the year ended, and it ended in the red. So that was the first time in Bitcoin's history that the 4-year cycle, at least on the yearly candle, was broken. I think that's a hugely important moment. And so I think that is the first significant indication that the 4-year cycle can be confirmed to be dead, which means that we are in unexplored territory. And I think unexplored territory is good, and means that a lot of the fear and FUD about the 4-year cycle is going to start dying, and then the new narrative will be 4-year cycle is dead, to the moon. And then I think the other thing is that MicroStrategy is not going to be removed from MSCI, which is very, very big news in and of itself. And then maybe even bigger news is that Morgan Stanley are doing something extremely unusual in that they're planning to launch their own Bitcoin ETF. And this is unusual in a number of ways, but perhaps the way it is most unusual is that it is very unusual for a major financial player to launch an ETF several years after the initial ETFs have been launched, because usually there's space in the market only for a few ETFs, and the first movers manage to capture that market. So the fact that a significant and basically, thoughtful and slow-moving player, but who make decisions on the basis of market research, like Morgan Stanley, with a huge number of clients, particularly high net worth individuals, is planning to do this, is indication that there is continued and growing interest in this space and in Bitcoin as an institutional asset, and they perceive that there's still significant runway. So I think overall, when on balance, in my last talks at the end of last year, I said, we're very much in a wait and see moment here to see whether or not the market is going to have a downturn, and it could go either way. I think we now, just a few weeks later, have multiple indications that seem to strongly indicate that we are not at the end of a bull run, but probably more towards its beginning. So I think it's a particularly interesting time right now.
That is a very interesting perspective. I did not expect you to say that at the end there. Yeah, I guess only time will tell. Time will tell. But thank you, Steve, and I hope you had a fantastic New Year and Christmas celebration as well. Like Yago, I just spent a lot of time with friends, family, just relaxed a lot. I was finally able to decorate my patio, and we put a couch out there. We put a rug out there. We've been having, we got a little fire pit, and so we've been hanging out in the patio and just having s'mores and hot chocolate, all the vibes, so it's been really nice. And yeah, it's just been nice laying low. With that being said, let's move on to the next question. Compute 5, my friend, welcome to the speaker panel. I hope you're doing all good. How are you? The mic is yours if you have any questions or would like to speak.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm doing great. It's kind
Awesome
of
to hear
noisy
that.
where I am. I'm outdoor. Just came back from work.
That's
Okay.
great, my friend.
Don't really have
Do you have
much.
any?
I'm just so excited. I'm just excited to be part of the community call. Nothing much. And I hope this year BOS stands firm and makes the best out of it this year. Just well wishes for BOS, for the boss community. That's all.
We appreciate you, legend. Thank you so much. Always nice having you in the community and seeing you participate on all the calls and activities. Hopefully, we'll see you at the Boss Movie Night I think it's in like 2.5 hours. But thank you so much for the warm wishes. So next question comes from Pi4. He's basically asking what your thoughts are on the pre-sale, and that the early investors are 70% underwater. How is the team going to basically, move forward with this in an effort to change this?
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate. I think, we've discussed previously, unfortunately, many of these things end up being the result in the short term of random things outside of the control of any individual or any project. In particular, the fact that we launched just after the flash crash and just as the market was taking a very, very significant dive, certainly that wasn't helpful. So that has, I think, in the short term, depressed prices, depressed the overall market, and in particular projects that launched during that period. I think there's in the short term, the primary thing that we need to do is launch the things that we're expecting to launch, start to see the roll-ups launch, start to see more users utilizing the system, have a number of significant announcements around the progress that we're making, build up that momentum, and then continue to execute and deliver. So I think it's a question of building up momentum. We've seen even relatively small things that build momentum have had very positive impacts on trading and on price perception, even in the very, very short history that we've had up until now. And the sort of bigger pieces of momentum and the bigger pieces of deliverables, features, and projects launching with us are going to be starting now. So I think it's a question of continuing to execute and continuing to deliver, bringing to the fore those developments, making them public, and building that momentum. And I think we will happily and hopefully quickly reverse and shake off the impact of the market sort of taking a dive just as we entered the market, and we will correct for that, and it will be something which was a mere blip in our history.
Great answer, Yago. Pi4, I hope that answers your question, my friend. So Storm asked, what will be the next big milestone for BOS and when can we expect it? Storm, we kind of already went over this. There's going to be roll-ups launching on BOS soon. So I'm going to skip this, but I will give you XP, my friend. Let's see here. Happy New Year, BOS team and community. Happy New Year, my friend. What about the BOS apprenticeship program? How long will it run for? We've already had it for 2 months plus now. And then any news about the ambassador program, please arrange it. So in regards to the BOS apprenticeship program, my friend, like I had mentioned 10, 15 minutes ago, that in terms of a mint date, it's to be determined. The apprenticeship program will run until we basically mint the collection. Because what you're essentially doing is you're trying to secure a guaranteed whitelist spot by climbing your way up to the 1200th place on the leaderboard. But I will say that, you can expect some information on this like relatively soon. And I'm also hoping that I can maybe give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek in the near future on what the collection looks like as well. Maybe show you guys like what one of the traits looks like. I will say it's looking absolutely beautiful, so crisp, so clean. Anybody who's really into fantasy is going to love what the collection looks like. And then in regards to the ambassador program, I think we already talked about this personally, my friend. Like I had mentioned, I need you guys to just be patient with me. Due to the holidays, we've kind of had to have a little bit of a slowdown on the community side of things. So all of these community forward initiatives will be kickstarted within the next within the coming weeks. I will say we had a massive interest in the ambassador program. I think the last I told you guys, I think we had about 400 or so applications when I spoke to you guys last, but we are coming into about 1,000 applications right now for the ambassador program. So we've seen an extremely high interest. And I have to go through every single one very intentionally, and take my time with every single one of those. So, because I want to give everybody a fair chance here. So please do be patient with me. It's going to take me a little bit of time to get through. And then what we'll do is we'll have the first wave of initiation, and then there will be a second wave, a third wave, so on and so forth. Let me give you XP for that, my friend. Aliyu Ashiru, you asked, what are the main goals to be focused by BOS this year? We have also answered that, my friend, so I will give you XP, but I am going to skip that one. Elsa asked, when is our next game night? And are there plans for official BOS merch, NFTs, or loyalty programs for long-term holders? So there is, we do have a merch store that's live on our website. Feel free to go check it out. I believe it's bitcoinos.build/store. A lot of amazing merch there. Highly recommend checking that out. In terms of NFTs, you guys already know we're launching an Ordinals collection soon. And then in terms of loyalty programs, I guess that would be more so, that's something that, we can discuss as a team. But I don't think that it's anything that we've discussed at the moment. But definitely thank you for bringing that up. And then in regards to our next game night, next week, my friend. Again, thank you so much for your patience. And I do want to say, I know that yesterday we were literally supposed to have our movie night, but it was postponed last minute. Some of you had to wake up at 4 a.m. for that, so it's my apologies. I had a little bit of a emergency on my end, so unfortunately I couldn't make it, hence why I couldn't even send out an announcement for you guys, and you found out from some of the moderators. The next comment here is from me, and it says, please no AI questions. They will be skipped. All right, next question. Pato said, please, bosses in the house, what's the secret code for AMA's session 1210? Pato, nobody will ever tell you, my friend. You're going to have to listen to the recordings of the AMA sessions to get the secret codes. Apologies. I will give you XP there, though. Compute5 said, Happy New Year, bosses, and to you, Alien. Thanks for the Santa hat. I love it. For context, guys, he's talking about his profile picture. And then, what a long holiday. I'm so excited that we finally have a community call. Here are my questions for the AMA. Let's see here. Yago, if you'd like to answer this. What does the vesting unlock mean for BOS presale holders?
It simply means that over the course of a 6-month period, on a once per month period, 1/6 of the tokens, or actually 1/7 of the tokens, because partially they were unlocked to begin with, but effectively of the vested tokens, 1/6 unlock every 6 months or every month. So the tokens become claimable.
Yeah, so we've had an unlock post TGE on November 29th. We had one on December 29th. Presale participants can expect the next unlock on January 29th, so on and so forth, right? So post TGE, which was on, I believe it was October 29th, we had 10%, which was unlocked, right, which was liquid at TGE, and then there was going to be another 15% unlocked at the end of every month in 6 equal monthly installments. So that's essentially what that means. Next question, compute. Unfortunately, I see that you have 3 questions, but I'm going to have to skip, unfortunately. Let's see here. Daniel Obi asked about staking. We already answered this, my friend. You asked about the presale and tokens that are vested and some who are already in loss. Yago also commented on that. Team plan, we also commented on that. Okay, the last question here is you're asking about Bro. How is Bro different from BOS? That's a good question.
Bro is so BOS is the protocol token. Bro is simply one of the many tokens being developed and launched on the protocol. So it's kind of like the difference between ETH and any token that exists on Ethereum as an ERC20. Bro specifically is a meme token dedicated to the integration of the various UTXO chains with Bitcoin via BOS.
Yeah, bro, like Yago said, it's a meme token. It was the first ever Charms token and Charms meme token. It was kind of like a community experiment, which is how Andrew, who's the co-founder of Charms, that's how he puts it. And it was essentially just a way for you guys to be able to experiment with the Charms protocol and to be able to experience, what that looks like. They are actually going to have some very exciting news for you guys in the coming days, so do stay tuned for that. We might even bring them up on our next community call to highlight some of the changes that are coming to the Charms protocol as well. Let's see here. Rafefas asked, when can we bid for Bitcoin with our boss? The auction thing.
Auctions will begin only after staking, so that people can begin to stake and then utilize the BOS earned from staking in order to participate in the buy and burn.
Thank you, Yago. So Solo asked, happy 2026, question for the AMA. With the planned LitVM testnet launch in Q1 2026, what performance metrics or benchmarks should we expect?
I think we can expect extremely fast and low cost transactions on the order of what you would be able to do with an optimistic rollup such as Arbitrum or Optimism. So basically the benchmark is being able to be as cost efficient as a rollup like Base.
Thank you, Yago. And I'm just going to pause on the questions real quick, and I'm going to share today's secret code. Before I do that, though, I'm going to put on some music, and hopefully you will understand why I am doing this once I share the code.
For me, boy. Yeah. 1738. I'm like, hey, what's up, hello? Since your pretty ass, soon as you came in the door.
Little throwback for you guys there. But today's secret code is 1738. If you know, you know. Fetty Wap. OG. Absolute God. But that is the secret code for Zeely as well as the loyalty program, my friends. So I will not be repeating it. I hope you enjoyed that small intermission there. Let's move on to the next question. So we have Eddie who asked, are there plans to support advanced use cases like AI agents, RWA, or modular rollups on BOS?
All of these things are possible on BOS. BOS makes all of this possible for the first time ever on Bitcoin and on many other chains. And we already are seeing both privacy and RWA projects, and I expect, and we've seen interest from AI projects, although I don't think we've yet started to see actual implementation. So the answer to all three is yes, and it's only a matter of time.
Thank you, Yago. Tommy, your question was about staking. We've already answered that, so I'm going to be skipping that there. And then Crypto Artistries, you also asked about, I guess we can answer this, Yago. What is the BOS vision? What do we envision as a whole?
I think the central idea of what animates us is that we're looking to allow crypto to be what it has always said it was going to be, right? So crypto, Bitcoin have always presented themselves as an industry allowing for the creation of an internet of value, making transactions, uh, trading and sharing value, and owning property available to every single person around the world to be able to interact with every other person and every other machine and every other AI in the world. Instead, what we've developed is a highly fragmented industry of very, very isolated ecosystems and chains which do not interoperate with each other, and as a result, they do not scale, they do not provide an internet-like experience, not for developers and not for users, and introduce a great deal of risks. And because of that, instead of building a truly functional infra for all of the world's value, finance, economic activity, and value transfer, what we've actually created is a system which is mostly a casino, a global casino, an exciting casino, but a casino because it is ephemeral, and casinos you can basically bet on assets without them necessarily needing to provide any kind of functional um, internet of value equivalent. So our belief is that it is only Bitcoin that provides a system of firmware instead of a system of software. In other words, a system which does not change, which is appropriate to have property rights on, not just for a few weeks or months, but for generations, which is what's necessary in order to protect property rights. And therefore, Bitcoin is the only system which actually can act as a global platform for property rights, a global platform for finance. Not only that, but Bitcoin is by far the most highly adopted and trusted system, and is the only system which has really seen institutional, government, and retail adoption. And it has always been the center of crypto. Bitcoin goes up, crypto goes up, Bitcoin goes down, crypto goes down. Sometimes Bitcoin goes up and crypto doesn't follow because people are starting to realize how different Bitcoin is, but it remains the center of gravity for the entire space. And so, despite that, Bitcoin has had limited functionality, and that has been ultimately the cause of all of these fragmented systems being built, which do not integrate, not with Bitcoin and not with each other. So by allowing Bitcoin to become a fully programmable system and allowing other chains and other applications and any developer to deploy to Bitcoin, to integrate with Bitcoin, we unify all of crypto and for the first time ever allow it to actually be what it's always promised it was going to be, which is an internet of value. And BitcoinOS, BOS, is the operating system for that new financial layer, borderless, permissionless, and potentially private, that we are building.
Thank you, Yago. And just wanted to see, do you have room for one more question?
Sure, one more.
Okay. So Metal Pig, I'm going to skip your question, my friend, because we already answered it, but I will be giving you XP there. The next question comes from Lord. This is a good question, something we haven't talked about in a while. How is the Sundial partnership going, and how will their tech be integrated into the BOS stack?
Um, From what I heard from Sundial recently, they've been making very, very significant progress, and their systems are getting closer and closer to being able to demonstrate the testnet. So I think we'll probably see something there quite soon. I'm not exactly sure what their timeline is. I think they're not exactly sure either, because developing new things is hard and very difficult to predict exactly when it'll be over, but exactly when things will be completed. But my understanding is that they've made fantastic, significant and progress, and have now are getting pretty close to a deployable system.
Thank you, Yago. Much appreciated. Thank you so much for your time today, my friend, and hopefully Hopefully, everybody feels happy about the information that was shared today. A lot of updates, lots of information. So, and if you're obviously just recently, newly jumping in, I, implore you to just go and re-listen to the recording because a lot of solid information was shared today. But Yago, thank you so much. And it honestly sounds like you might be a little sick. So I hope you do feel a little bit better. Thank you so much for your time, though.
Thank you very much. Yes, I have been sneezing. Thanks very much. I look forward to talking to you all again, and really, really looking forward to the next few months into 2026.
Let's
It's
go.
going to be
Thank you
boss.
so much. All right, guys. So I do want to jump back into a couple of things here before we end the call. So I wanted to talk to you guys about, once again, something that I repeat on a regular basis, something the mods talk about on a regular basis, but it is the price talk that takes place on official channels. Now, I want to highlight this by once again saying that nothing that we do is out of spite. Everything that we do is out of good intention for you as a user, as a participant in our ecosystem. It is with good intention for the ecosystem as a whole, the project, everything. We're not doing things out of spite. We're not trying to inhibit free speech whatsoever. That is not what this space is about. You guys can tell that is not what Yago is about whatsoever. If anything, Yago is known for just blasting and speaking his mind and not giving a shit about what anybody says. So I promise you that we also very much share that ethos, and nothing that we're doing is to inhibit your free speech whatsoever. Please do not take it that way. But I do understand your frustration, and I do understand wanting to, talk about it, wanting to connect about it, wanting to get feedback on it. So I do understand that there, and I'm sorry. I genuinely am. I wish we could allow those types of discussions, but here's why we don't allow it, my friends. So when there is, and I'm going to say this in layman's terms. So when the team is in a room, right, in this case, Discord, regulators, they don't see price talk as a casual conversation, right? What they see it as is as the team could potentially be influencing the market even if they do not say a single word. And the reason for this is because the team has more info than the public by default, right? We obviously know this. So any price discussion that's taking place in an official space can be completely taken the wrong way. And they don't give a shit about intention, right? They just look at things and see it as a fact, right? So even the team just being present can be interpreted as some form of like signaling, or some form of like encouraging speculation that's taking place. So we want to we want to basically prevent that, and that's why these price discussions don't take place. Now you can sit there and argue all night long, but unfortunately, I'm not just pulling this out of thin air. These are facts. You could go look it up. Go speak to regulators if you'd like. We are just trying to protect the project. We are trying to protect you. We are trying to protect the ecosystem. We're trying to protect the longevity of the project. And I'm sorry, but unfortunately, that is always going to be prioritized. We're not doing anything out of ill intention. Moving forward, happy to discuss this further. Please do open up a support ticket and do not leave it empty. Tag a girl. Tag a girl. Do not leave support tickets empty, my friends. Ah, during the holidays, there was quite a few of empty support tickets, and I swear to God, you guys are doing it out of spite now. But yeah, moving forward. So the hackathon, guys, Yago briefly mentioned it. We had quite a few submissions for the hackathon, lots of brilliant ideas. I'm actually going to spend a little bit of time today reviewing a few myself. We're going to break it down to I can't say like the number of participants, the number of submissions, but we are going to break them down and then eventually get you guys involved as well, because we would love for you guys to take a look. We've obviously been overwhelmed at the number of submissions that have come through, so we very much want you guys to participate in voting on your favorite projects. So I'm working on making that possible. But we will obviously just need a little bit of patience. But it is very exciting. Again, lots of brilliant ideas, and it's awesome to see just how interested developers are in our stack and technology. So let's see here. I'm going to see if I can get through some of these questions myself. When will it be possible to deliver BOS tokens to the winners of the Zeely Sprint? So that's a good question, and it's something that you guys were actually asking way before TG as well, whether or not we can actually hand out BOS tokens instead of USDC. At the moment in time, my friends, USDC, we're all going to have to settle for USDC. That's just what's taking place at this moment. But I will talk to the team and see if this is something that we'd be willing to do. Of course, if there is a lot of interest. Otherwise, I think it makes the most sense for us to, at this moment in time, I think it makes the most sense for us to offer USDC just because it's stable. But maybe in the future, once we have like staking opportunities available, maybe you'll want to opt in for or opt out for BOS tokens instead, so that you could stake your tokens on a Slam node operator of your choice, so on and so forth. But at this moment in time, we're just going to stick to USDC. But again, I will bring it up with the team. John said, "Hey, Alien and Boss Fam. Hope you are all doing well. Any update from the bro community, and also just wish everyone well." We wish you well too, my friend. Always good to see you. In terms of bro, yes, there is an update. Unfortunately, I can't spill the beans, and I won't spill the beans, but there is some information that will be shared in the coming days. Some very exciting information coming from the Charms team over the course of the next couple of days. Like I said previously, we might bring them up on an X Space or up on a community call as well to discuss that, because we'd obviously like to highlight the work that they're doing. And I know that a lot of you participated in Bro and this community experiment, so it's important to get you guys the right information, of course. In terms of, Freylex said, how is Boss's relations with Cardano's founding entities going? So the last that Yago spoke about this, he said that it's been going really well. We have a good relationship with Charles, and Charles actually, I think a couple weeks ago, I actually saw a video of Charles talking about Boss and talking about different projects in the space that are essentially working together to bring programmability to Bitcoin and then bring Bitcoin to Cardano and vice versa. So it's been going pretty great. Let's see here. Next question. Georgians asked, what kind of utility is the collection going to have? Would it be connected with BOS features? So Cisco West, you also asked the same question. So let me give you guys XP there, and I'm going to answer that. So really interesting, guys. So Mage Society, which is our Ordinals collection, it's going to be the first ever Charms NFT collection, right? It's going to launch as a charm, which means that it is absolutely going to have, I could say BOS features, but it is at the end of the day Charms features, right? So it's going to be programmable. It's going to be chain agnostic. Only time will tell, honestly. Like we'll once it launches, we'll be able to kind of like dictate what more that we can do with it. But in the meantime, like you guys are literally participating in history, like crypto history, Bitcoin history. So you're going to have a piece of history literally within your hands, which is you are having a NFT collection that is launching under the Charms Universal Token Standard, right? So eventually, it's going to be able to live natively on Bitcoin, Cardano, Litecoin. It'll be chain agnostic, right? Which means that it's not bound to any chain. It'll be able to move between these chains without any bridging involved, because the way that it works is all of the metadata actually lives within the token standard. It's recursive, which means that history travels with itself. So typically right now with token standards, history does not travel with the token itself, right? With Bitcoin, for example, it's its history is bound to the chain, right? It's a first generation token standard. And then you have second generation token standards, which are, for example, like ERC20 tokens. They're programmable, but they're still bound to the chain. The metadata, the information is bound to the chain. But then you have this new generation token standard, the third generation token standard, which is Charms, this new revolutionary piece of technology that its history literally travels with itself, guys. I mean, yeah, it's amazing to see where technology has taken us, and it'll be interesting. Once again, I'm kind of getting sidetracked here, but it'll be interesting to see what more we can actually do with the Mage Society collection. And of course, it's going to be a crucial part to our ecosystem as well, and I'm going to make sure that there's going to be a lot more, just a lot more things that you guys can do with it. I promise you guys there. I think that was the last bit of the questions, which is great. I feel like we don't typically get through all the questions. So we had honestly 30, 40 questions. We got through all of them. So, yeah, it's absolutely awesome reconnecting with you guys as always. Good to see familiar faces in the chat. We have Gideon. Good to see you. I see you've been grinding hard, my friend. Looks like you have a little affiliate tag next to your name. Congratulations. I see Lord. Awesome to see you. Green Man is up at literally 4 a.m. for this community call. Shout out to you. I hope your holidays were amazing, my friend. Steve Hoppy in the chat. We got MT Man, Eddie, Indulgent, the Intelligent, the Advisor, my wingman. Appreciate you. We got John. Always good to see you. We got our beautiful Amber. We got UA coming through. We got Lucas from Brazil. We got Solo in the chat. Love to see you, my friend. We got Storm. We got Sudi. We got the aliens, the German aliens in the chat. Love to see you guys. We got Tommy. So good to see you. We got Tony Stark. We got Bitcoin Stark in the chat. We got Slim Shady in the chat. Good to see you. Slim on Chain. Who else we got over here? We got DW Ron. We got Elsa in the chat. We already know how Elsa is, man. Elsa's the game lord. Literally beats us all at every single game. Crazy. That was once upon a time. Storm, Sudi, and I, we were doing pretty good at gaming. I'll tell you that much. Once upon a time. We're gonna make her come back. Don't worry. We got Slim. We got Crypto Chad. Mr. Orantox. Good to see you. We got Moon Dancer. Big Wiz. Electronige. Good to see you. Daddy E. Basta. We got Francium. Love to see your profile pictures, guys. Bounty Tight. We got Fralix in the chat. Also amazing at games. We got Alex. Good to see you. Mark Simpson. We got Mummy JCs, Georgians, Humpy99. We got Ashbourne. Good to see you, my friend. Ming Ming. We got Wasi. We got Abel. And then we got Dozer in the chat. So good to see you guys. Much love to you all. Love seeing your profile pictures, by the way. The orange is shining bright. If anybody would like a orange boss-themed background picture, you know where to find me. I will make you guys one right away. With that being said, guys, we have a boss movie night coming up in about 2 hours from now. We're going to be watching Sinners. If you have not watched Sinners yet, I highly recommend tuning in. This was one of my favorite movies that came out in 2025, and I'm pretty sure anybody who's watched it can attest to that. It was just, yeah, it's just a beautifully produced, directed movie in all the ways. Slight horror features, slight. So for some of you that might be, that might get scared, bring a blanket. You'll be fine though. Grab your grandma. You'll be fine. What else to update you guys with? The Zeely sprint. I may push back the ending plus 1 week. The reason for that is obviously due to the holidays. We really couldn't do much. I wanted to make sure that you guys got time to rest and you were not competing during the holidays. So I may be pushing it back plus 1 week. Apologies there. I know, I know when it comes to these competitions, you guys are just like, yo, I'm tired of maintaining my top in the leaderboard. It's a struggle trying to make the memes every single day, but it's all fun and games, guys. It's all fun and games. Even though I know for some of you it's not all fun and games and you take it seriously and you are absolutely defending your honor, but Green Man giving it that 100 right now. I feel you. I feel you. Um, Other than that, guys, Engage Marketplace, like I said, will be restocked soon. I just need some time. I just need to look at the community budget and make sure that I'm allocating things fairly. With that being said, I think that wraps us up. Can't talk. I think that wraps us up today, guys. Thank you guys so much for participating in today's community call. As always, you know I appreciate every single one of you to your core. I hope you guys had a beautiful New Year's celebration. I hope you guys had a beautiful Christmas, Hanukkah, spend some time with family, spend some time with friends. You guys deserve that. Crypto literally takes the living life and soul out of us in all the ways. So it's really important to just lay low sometimes and vibe and focus on ourselves and take care of our personal needs. So I really hope you guys got some time to do that. It honestly passed by way too quick. Let's be real. As you can tell, I'm still wearing my Santa hat, so I'm clearly still stuck in the holidays. I'm not sure when I'm going to move forward. My Christmas tree is still up. Pretty sure that's not coming down in the next like 3 weeks. I've still been eating holiday food. We still got mac and cheese. We still got cornbread going. Yeah, I love the holiday period, holiday time. It's always a good time. So gotta extend it out, make the best of it. Um, but yeah, besides that on my end, guys, let's see here. Since we got the close community in the chat here, I've been newly playing a lot of Diablo 4, which has been fucking awesome. It's absolutely blown my mind, especially playing it on PC. The graphics are insane. They are so beautiful. If you guys have not played Diablo 4, I highly recommend checking it out. Beautiful ARPG game. I've always skipped past it. I'm a heavy like World of Warcraft player. But I figured I would give it a try now, and I've absolutely been enjoying it so much. So if you guys do play WoW, if you guys do play Diablo 4, let's link up. I know Dozer is in here. He's been trying to play hardcore with me for the last couple of weeks, but I've been MIA. I think we should have like some like community like gaming nights, community gaming events beyond just some of the games we play on Discord. So if you guys are into that, let's organize something. Maybe we can make a Minecraft server. Maybe we can I don't know. We can figure it out. But it would be nice to kind of vibe outside the Discord a little bit. With that being said, my friends, I should probably be a Twitch streamer. I could talk to myself for hours, apparently. But with that being said, I'm gonna end this call because you already know I'd be talking a bunch of nonsense. So much love to you guys, and obviously I'll see you guys in the next like 2.5 hours. I hope you're all doing well. Enjoy your Friday, as we always say. Get off your devices, go touch grass, spend some time with friends and family, and do the things that you love, guys, because you absolutely deserve it. Let's end this space on a good note. Shout out to all of you, and as always, much love.
I enter from Abuja to Kwakwalada. Money move the castle face to your water. I know before some feet don't pass my power. Run up a shower, I get for Kwakwalada. I enter from Abuja to Kwakwalada. Money move the castle face to your water. I know before I don't feed you pass my power. I roll up my shower, I get for Kwakwalada. Oh God.
Much love, my beautiful friends, and happy motherfucking Friday. Take care. Enjoy your weekend. Much love.